We all know the feeling of being watched, right? That eerie sense that someone, or something, is lurking nearby, just out of sight, waiting. But what if it wasn't just a feeling? What if it was real? And it was coming from next door? My neighbor moved out weeks ago, but last night I heard sounds from the basement, scratching, faint whispers, like someone, or something, was still down there. I couldn't resist the pull of that basement, even if it felt like a mistake. I'm lying in bed, eyes wide, staring at the ceiling while the faint scratching noises echo. 8 o'clock, 2:34 a.m. The noises started small. I thought it was just my mind playing tricks on me. After all, the house next door had been empty for weeks. But night after night, the sounds grew louder, more desperate. The scratching grows into a faint knocking. My eyes dart nervously to the wall separating the two houses. It was like something was trying to claw its way out. Or worse, trying to get me to come inside. Look, I know what you're thinking. Why not just ignore it? I mean, it's just a creepy, empty house, right? But curiosity got the best of me. So I waited for the sounds to return. And this time, I made a plan. I sneaks out of their house, flashlight in hand, and quietly enters the neighbor's basement through a dusty, half-open window. The air inside is thick and musty. I shouldn't have gone in. The basement was dark and cold, filled with an unnatural silence that made every creak of the floor feel like a shout. They scan the basement with the flashlight, revealing strange items that look oddly familiar. A family photo, but with slightly different faces. A living room setup that resembles their own, but twisted somehow. As I walked further in, I noticed something horrifying. This basement was a mirror image of my own life, my furniture, my photos, but distorted. It was like my life had been twisted, altered by something malicious. Flashlight catches a door at the far corner of the room, barely visible behind a pile of old boxes. The door looks ancient, with strange symbols scratched into the wood. And then I saw it. A door. One that shouldn't have been there. I felt an overwhelming sense of dread, like the door itself was daring me to open it. So here's the big question. Would you go through the door, or do the smart thing and leave ASAP? Because believe me, I wish I had. But the door had a pull, like it was calling me. And despite every warning sign, I couldn't stop myself. I reaches out, hand trembling, and slowly opens the door. Beyond it is a dark, narrow corridor that seems to stretch endlessly, disappearing into shadow. I opened the door, and it led to nowhere. Just an empty corridor that seemed to stretch forever. But there was something in the darkness, watching. I could feel its eyes on me. The deeper I walked, the more it felt like the walls were closing in. The air grew colder. And the whispers, they sounded familiar, like voices I knew, distorted versions of people from my own life. Suddenly I freezes as they hear their own voice, echoing from deep within the corridor, repeating their thoughts back to them in a mocking tone. Then I heard my own voice, whispering from the darkness. It was calling me forward, saying things only I would know. But who, or what, was it? At this point, I was like, did I just discover my evil twin? Because that's not a conversation I'm ready for. But this wasn't just a trick. Whatever it was reading my mind, and it was angry. Finally reaches the end of the corridor, where a small room awaits. In the center of the room is a single chair with an old cracked mirror propped up in front of it. My reflection in the mirror is twisted and horrifying, grinning with hollow eyes. The corridor led to a small empty room with a single mirror. I looked into it, and what stared back wasn't me. Not exactly. It was something wearing my face, but its eyes were empty. Its smile twisted. It leaned forward, and I swear, it was trying to pull me in. The reflection starts moving on its own, lifting a hand to reach out of the mirror. I stumbles back, terrified. I felt it trying to drag me forward, pulling me closer. My reflection's cold, empty eyes locked onto mine. I tried to look away, but I couldn't. You know, they say mirrors don't lie. But this one definitely had some trust issues. And as I stood there, frozen, the realization hit me. If I didn't leave, I might not make it out at all. I turns and runs back through the corridor, heart pounding, while the whispers and mocking laughter follow. They burst out of the basement, gasping, and slam the door shut. But as they look back, they see the door inside the basement creaking open and hear their own voice calling out from inside. I escaped the basement, but as I looked back, I saw the door open again, and from deep inside, I heard my own voice whispering, "Come back. I don't know what's lurking in that basement, but one thing is certain. It knows me, and it's still waiting. So, would you go back, or would you leave that door shut forever?" Drop your thoughts below, but remember, sometimes the scariest doors are the ones that never close.